Hey guys, and welcome to this video on your past life story in astrology, part 1. I'm Cassandra, the Saffron Sage, helping you use astrology to evolve. And in this video, we're talking about your past life story based on the planets that are conjunct your South Node. So those of you who have been following me know that I already have videos on the North and South Node. If you haven't seen those yet, be sure to check them out. And in this video, we're going over what it means, what it adds to that past life story, that dynamic if you have a planet on that South Node. So I define that conjunction as within 3 degrees, but I believe that for conjunctions and things like that, it's not like after 3 degrees it cuts off, but the energy wanes, okay? The energy becomes less intensified. So if you have a conjunction that is within 4 degrees, you can still look at that aspect, or 5 degrees or 7 degrees, or if it's 10 degrees within your sun or moon, because I use 10-degree orbs for the sun and the moon. But basically, if it's a little further away, you can still watch that planet and see if it has maybe a more subtle influence. So that being said, let's just briefly go over again what the South Node is, and then I'll talk about what your planets on your South Node mean in general, and then what they mean specifically by planet. So the South Node in astrology is the placement where you have had a past life experience, your past life challenges, okay? The things that you lived through in the past life that you are not really here to re-experience. But the thing is our soul recognizes that energy. So we notice it as familiar and we think it's right for us. We tend to repeat our past life patterns, our South Node patterns early in life. And as we get older, hopefully wiser, we learn how to embody our North Node. So remember, this is lifetimes of patterns that even if you're caught in the middle of, all you have to do is start. And my experience with the North Node and learning it and trying to follow it is really, if all you do is start embodying that energy a little bit at a time. I personally have felt this open up things in my life like nothing else has. So that is why I have so many videos on maybe I don't have so many videos, but I want to do so many videos, and I'm always talking about this North and South Nodes. So that being said, guys, let's talk a little more about planets on the South Node. So this has 2 major indications. First of all, it means that in a past life, the South Node conjunction planets that are on your South Node, describe your character more in depth. So everyone has a character from their past life, an energy they played out, and we look to the sign of the node to see what that was. But then when you have a planet there, in every other placement, you guys, the planet will take over. In my belief with the South Node, the planet doesn't take over. It just adds a certain energy or a certain quality to who you were in that past life. So let's say you have your South Node in Taurus, okay? So South Node in Taurus means in a past life you were wealthy, you focused on having material success, you did not focus on merging with others or transformation. You focused on being comfortable. Let's say you have Mars conjunct that South Node in Taurus. Mars is the archetype of the warrior. So you could have been someone who was a soldier or like a military leader, and you built an army, or you built wealth or status or property by fighting or training or being an athlete or being competitive in some way. So this is an example of how it tells the story. It's not one or the other. The house position also matters for the North and South Node, but they're not as significant. They're more like minor details, so that's why I haven't made that video yet, but I can make that video too. So the planets conjunct the South Node represent 2 things. One is that character of who you were in that past life. 2 is the gift that you can bring to this life. When it comes to planets on the South Node, these can also be the challenges that pull us back in to our past life patterns. So we have to make sure that when we embody the energy of the planets sitting on the South Node, that we do so in a North Node way, okay? We do so in a way that contributes to us moving forward on our North Node. So let's say you have your North Node in Gemini, which is communication, teaching, and learning. And you have Pluto on the South Node. Pluto on the South Node is going to be very transformational. You're going to want to study psychology. You're going to want to dig deep. But you have to watch out that you are not just digging deep for the sake of digging deep. That planet's energy by itself will take you into a black hole. And this person, if they have their North Node in Gemini, then the South Node would be in Sagittarius, meaning they're going to dig deep into spirituality or wisdom or the meaning of life. This person will get stuck trying to figure out the meaning of life instead of teaching what they know. So they have to make sure if they're going to go research something, they have to research the thing they need to teach someone else, and that's it, and not get stuck in the abyss of that next level of knowing more or learning more. This is just one example to help you get this sense of how we take that gift, but we really need to use it in a North Node way so it works for us instead of against us, because the South Node energy is the energy, the patterns, the experiences that we already mastered in a past life. And I want to clarify the word master, because just because we mastered something in a past life doesn't mean we were always good at it. It could be we mastered that experience. So you can master an experience of suffering. You can master being confined by being a slave or being in prison. You know, you can master Sagittarius energy by being a monk. You could have mastered being betrayed. So we can master these different energies. Doesn't mean we were successful, but that we mastered them in the sense that our soul learned that vibration. Our soul learned that energy. And now we're ready to jump out of that, to use it to our advantage in whatever way we can, and get into the energy we came here to learn, which is our North Node. I'll be doing another video on planets conjunct the North Node, so if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe and hit the bell so you get the notification when that one comes out. But the North Node planets are going to be, they're going to make it a little easier for you to identify or kind of sync up with your purpose, your North Node purpose in this life. So people with planets conjunct the South Node, and you guys, I am one of you, so don't feel too bad. It's easier to get sucked back in, so you really have to watch out that whatever planet is on that South Node, that you're using it in the right way and right for you, whatever is right for you, based on your astrology chart. Okay guys, so let's get into the planets. If you have your sun conjunct the South Node, the sun is the archetype of the king. The sun is also the archetype of the father. So to have that energy conjunct your North Node means in a past life, you could have had this energy, you could have been a king or a father, but it was too much of this energy. And the sun is also like the typical actor, the entertainer, someone who had eyes on them, who had a following or a kingdom or a people that worship them in some way. So you could have been a famous person, someone who was in the spotlight, someone who had power. And being conjunct the South Node means in that past life there was too much of that energy. So there was a little too much ego, a little too much focus on self. The gift in this life, if you have the sun conjunct your South Node, is that you have a creative talent to express. But oftentimes with this conjunction, what we will see is a fear of expressing that talent, because you had that past life where you were a little too much, a little too extra, you know, a little too accepting of the limelight. So in this life, it's about learning how to use that creativity, how to express it, use that gift in a North Node way. So in alignment with the sign that is ruled by your North Node. So if you have the moon conjunct your South Node, that means in a past life there was a challenging situation with the archetype of the mother. So you were most likely a mother, but there was a problem here. A problem like the death of a child or some other major dysfunction or unhealthy pattern or trauma or wounding around being a mother. So in this life, you have this innate caretaker energy. So that can show up as being a mother, but it can also be having caring qualities that you can infuse into your work, nurturing people, caring about their emotions, really putting emotional security at the forefront, and just allowing yourself to soothe other people in that way. Sometimes this can be like nursing, or it can also be working with children or doing other activities in a nurturing and emotionally nurturing way. Also counseling or therapists can fall under this as well. So having this be your south node pattern, it's right for you to express these qualities, but sometimes you might hesitate. And it's also important that you do so in a north node way. So whatever sign is ruling your north node, wherever your north node is, making sure you're using these caretaking qualities to achieve the ends of that sign. And remember, those videos are up if you want a refresher on what the north node means through the signs. So the next planet we have is Mercury. If you have Mercury conjunct your south node, this means in a past life, communication was a challenge or a problem. So examples of this could be you were gossipy, you told lies or told rumors about people. You could have been a snake oil salesman who just, talked a good game and, sold people, lied to people to get what you wanted or what you needed. Another way this could show up is very severe communication problems. So you could have been deaf, or you could have had some other challenge to your hearing, your speaking, that really caused you big problems, trauma in a past life. In this life, you are here to use those communication skills, that gift of gab, the ability to speak or write or express yourself through words in a way that honors your north node, that achieves the end of your north node, the sign your north node is in. The next planet is Venus. So if you have Venus conjunct the south node, in a past life you had challenges related to art or beauty. So this could be like you were an artist in a family that didn't respect you, or you were a starving artist your whole life and you never got discovered. It could also be that you were very Venusian in the sense that you were very feminine or beautiful, but that this didn't work for you. So you could have been beautiful and attacked for your beauty, like maybe someone poisoned you because they were jealous of your beauty in a past life, or you could have been the most beautiful but had to deal with all the challenges that came with that, and it wasn't like it didn't work for you. It's not like you were beautiful and you had doors open for you. It's like being attacked for your beauty, or being attacked for your femininity. So this can apply to people who were males in a past life and they were more feminine or had more feminine qualities or feminine interests and were in communities that did not accept that and paid the price in some way. So then in this life, you are here to either socialize or express that beauty or artistic flair in some way. So Venus energy is really, really wonderful at connecting with people and bringing this sense of ease and harmony in social situations. They can really be very, very charming. So you might have this natural charm, this innate ability to charm people, and you also could be really interested in more aesthetically pleasing things. So art, even music, beautifying things, beautifying the sound, the texture, beautifying the home, beautifying your own self, being a model, being an actor or actress, being someone who uses makeup in their work or in their daily life. You could be a painter, anything that makes the world more beautiful. Also for Venus, being a chef, working with food also falls under this. But basically any of these qualities with the south node conjunct Venus, you may be not 100%, like it might not be easy for you to express this energy because of the past life trauma associated with it. And so for you, you are here in this life to express that beauty, harmonize or socialize in a way that honors wherever your north node is in your astrology chart. So now let's go to the next planet, which is Mars. So if you have Mars conjunct your south node in a past life, you embody the energy of a warrior. So you could have murdered someone. You could have killed a lot of people as a warrior, like fighting for a good cause or defending your country. You could have also been in the military or been an athlete. These are all very Martian type things. Anything that required fighting. You could have been a defense attorney who was ruthless. Okay, Mars energy to the extreme can be ruthless. And remember, this is because it's a south node, it's a negative thing. We always see what the challenge is here. And so the challenge with Mars energy as your past life energy here is sometimes in this life you could have experienced being a little too combative, or just being defensive, wanting to fight everyone for no real reason. And the way to use this energy is to know that whenever you are on the right path, you actually have stores, reserves of energy, of motivation that you might not even know you have, because it doesn't kick into gear until you have a challenge worthy of like defending or fighting for or getting out of bed for. So if you have this placement, it's worth it to get find something that challenges you a little, because you'll need that a little bit of challenge in order for you to use that energy. Call on that Martian energy, that warrior energy from a past life, and don't be afraid of it. And that is kind of how you know if this stuff resonates, is that if you feel a fear of using your masculine energy and taking action, that is a sign that that is a past life overlay. So we're going to go to the next planet, which is Jupiter. So if you have Jupiter conjunct the south node, Jupiter archetype is a teacher, a sage, a guru, a guide, someone who knows things. So you could have been that person in a past life who knew things, who was a guru, who was an inspiring teacher. One of the challenges of this past life is that you could have gotten too much attention. It's similar to the sun, but with Jupiter, Jupiter expands everything it touches. So in a past life, you could have just been too much, like too much excess, too much gambling, too much eating, overworking, anything ism, alcoholism, any addiction, any kind of overindulgence could have happened if you have Jupiter conjunct the south node. So you could have been a guru in a past life or a leader of some kind who overindulged or abused their power in some way, but it's more like, you know, someone who just took more than their fair share of things. The gift in this placement for Jupiter conjunct the south node is all about being able to inspire, teach, and really, you know, be on this quest for the truth, really understand the deeper meaning of life. And it's important to use those qualities in a north node way, basically embodying that energy of the sign your north node is in. So let's go to Saturn now. If you have Saturn conjunct the south node, Saturn is the typical, it can be the typical father, disciplinarian, person who has boundaries, limits, business owner, CEO. It's all about self-sacrifice. Saturn does have quite of a pessimistic outlook. So if you have this conjunct your south node in a past life, you were probably a father, but not in a good way. Someone who used discipline, but not in a positive light. So you could have been a leader of some kind, like a drill sergeant that was too hard on their, you know, like subjects, or what are they called? If you're a drill sergeant, it's a what? Subordinate. So basically whoever was under you, if you were a father, you were too strict and maybe even really mean. So, or even a boss, you could have been a boss, a CEO who was just super, super mean to the people that you presided over and caused too much restriction. You yourself could have been someone who just experienced restriction and poverty and lived a life where you had no hope of ever getting out of the restrictions that were placed on you. So what it means in this life is you have these abilities, these innate abilities of not indulging, like not overindulging, of self-sacrifice, discipline, order, structure, setting up systems, and helping other people be disciplined, or, you know, really using self-discipline to create some kind of goal. And the challenge here is to trust that part of yourself, allow that part of yourself to create the goals that are embodied in your north node. Uranus. If you have Uranus conjunct your south node, in a past life you could have been a genius, an inventor, or an oddball. Like I think of like Einstein, where yeah, he like the people that we look back on and see, oh wow, their inventions were so ahead of their time. They didn't have the easiest experiences in their lives, like Galileo, like you know, even Tesla. They were all not respected necessarily at the time that they lived because their ideas were so far ahead. So if you have Uranus conjunct your south node, you definitely lived a life where in some way you were on the fringe, you were too far ahead of your time, whether that be through science, math, and technology as an inventor, or, you know, inventing vaccines or inventing something different, you know, having different theories about life, disagreeing with the conventional wisdom of the day. That is what you did in a past life if you have Uranus conjunct your south node. And the way to use this energy in this life is to allow yourself to be a little different, really move towards the energy of freedom, freedom of thought. You might have a gift of helping people really see how they can become free in their own lives, free of the chains, the shackles of convention. You might also have your own little oddball type energy, or your own little area of life where you are sort of on the leading edge and other people aren't quite caught up to you yet. With this placement sometimes comes a fear of being ridiculed from that past life where you were just not the same as everyone else. If you have Neptune conjunct the south node, in the past life you could have been a cult leader, someone with a very bad addiction, or a spiritual guru gone bad. Let's see what else. You could have also had a mental illness in a past life. So then in this life, how this shows up for you is you have this spirituality and compassion infused into your personality, but you don't, it's not right for you just to be compassionate for compassion's sake. You need to learn how to apply this energy to your north node and whatever sign that it falls in. So make sure if you are being compassionate, you are doing it in a way that is in alignment with your north node sign and doesn't move you toward your south node sign. You could be too compassionate, too gullible, too easily swayed. So you could also be afraid of sharing your own opinions or thoughts or beliefs in this life because of your lack of credibility in a past life through kind of checking out, right? Because Neptune is all about checking out. It's about escaping from reality. So in a past life, you had that very, very far escape from reality. And even in early life, if you have this conjunction, you could have experienced people treating you like you're crazy, gaslighting you, not wanting to believe you for no real reason. And so the more you are able to move toward your north node, the more you can sort of shed that past life overlay and move toward being seen as someone who thinks clearly and has something important to say. If you have Pluto conjunct the south node, in a past life you were a powerful person. You could have abused your power. You could have done some dark things because Pluto rules the underworld. What does that involve? You could have been involved in the mafia. You could have done black magic. We're gonna call it baneful magic. But magic that was designed to harm others. You could have cast spells on people. You could have been seen as a witch, whether you were or not. You could have used your power, like been a corrupt government official, used your power for bad things. You could have been like a prison guard who tortured the inmates. Anything where you used your power in a negative way. And you could have also merged up with other powerful people. Maybe you were not the bad person. You're not always the bad person in a past life pattern. Sometimes you're the good person who accidentally does something, or you're doing the thing for a good reason, but you still end up with a past life overlay. So let's say you fall in love with a mafia boss and you don't know he's a mafia boss in a past life, and then you end up getting involved in a bunch of really dark stuff, darkness and death and manipulation, and you don't have a way out. So that's the kind of past life you could have. There's many other types of abuse that can happen with this south node, but it was a struggle. You could have gotten involved in crime or in any kind of situation that you got in the club but you can't get out of the club, like any kind of cults that you got into and they won't let you out. You could have been like a spy, or you could have also been like a private investigator, or done any kind of work where you're digging up the truth, but in some kind of negative twist. And you could have also been involved with prostitution. So that all being said, what does it mean in this life if you have Pluto conjunct the South Node? Even though you had this negative past life, it doesn't mean you have negative intentions in this life. So know that. And also, with Pluto conjunct the South Node, you are very powerful, but you really have to use your power for the right reasons. If you try to use your power in the sign that rules your South Node, in those kind of activities, it's not going to work out. It will be bad for you. But if you use your power for your North Node activities, with activities and things that are in alignment with honoring and moving toward that North Node, that is when you can be really, really effective. Another thing to know with this placement is that if you have Pluto conjunct the South Node, people who are dishonest or deceitful will really not like you. They will feel very uncomfortable around you. So there's like this cleansing and purifying energy around Pluto that, you know, people who just don't want to be cleansed, don't want to be purified, don't want the truth to be revealed, will not know why you make them uncomfortable. I just want to say, for anyone with Scorpio or Pluto placements that are, you know, close to their sun, moon, rising, this does not mean you are here to trigger people. I hear spiritual people say that all the time. It's good to trigger people, or I'm here to trigger people into awakening. That is, in my opinion, a very misguided belief that really puts too much power on the individual to, you know, always be good. I don't think anyone, no matter what your placements are, you are not here to trigger people. You are not here to heal people if they don't want to be healed. Pluto does tend to have a healing effect, but it's not an easy one. So if you have this conjunction and certain people just can't stand you and they're wounded, and you know that they're wounded, try not to take that too personally, because it might just be too hard for them to be around you without sensing their own wounds that they are trying so hard not to feel. And my belief on this is that we don't have the right to try to make someone purge if they are not ready, because we don't know what they have been through. We don't know how many lifetimes of karma and struggle and trauma they would have to clear to be cleansed. And in my opinion, using a healing power like the power of Pluto or Scorpio in a way that forces someone to reveal things they don't want to reveal, or feel things they don't want to feel, in my opinion, that is a form of abuse. So if you have Pluto conjunct your South Node, I would encourage you not to try to force anyone into their purification. And let me know in a comment below, guys, if you relate to this, if you have this conjunction and you know what I'm talking about. So moving on now to, last but not least, Chiron. If you have Chiron conjunct your South Node, this means whatever sign your South Node in, that's a really tender point for you, because you have your South Node challenges and your Chiron challenges in the same place. So it really just means your past life wounded you, and your Chiron wound originated from a past life. So the way to apply this is a little different than the other planets. Well, Chiron is not technically a planet, but we're still talking about it because it's important. So having Chiron here, what you can do is, when you're learning about the energy of your Chiron wound and you're watching videos on that or reading about it, you can really consider the fact that this wound possibly originated for you from a past life, and that something that happened in that past life really caused that wound. So let's say you have it in Taurus. Chiron in Taurus has a wound of not deserving or feeling like they don't have things. So not having enough material possessions will be such a trigger for the Chiron and Taurus person that they spend lots of time and energy making sure they have enough. People with Chiron and Taurus usually have money because they cannot stand the idea that someone else is going to have more than them. it is such a tender point. Also, healing can be infused in your purpose, but it's really important. If you have Chiron conjunct the South Node, it's really, really important for you that you don't get caught in the healing trap of, oh, first I need to heal this, then I'll move forward on my purpose. Then and just keep going back to re-healing the wound. You have a wound that has been reopened and reopened and reopened. That is that Chiron there. And there's always a way to overcome the Chiron wound. And there's lots of videos on this already. I don't have any yet, but tons of people have videos on what that is. So you can start looking at how to overcome that. And just know that with Chiron involved here, in this axis of fate, basically, this is a very challenging placement, to be totally honest, because whenever you engage in your South Node activity, you're also gonna wound yourself. Like, it's gonna hurt worse than everyone else. So with these challenging placements, there's always a remedy, and sometimes the most challenging placements can become the best gifts, because when we have to work hard to heal in order to have a gift, it's like then we really, really earned it, and it's powerful. It can be so powerful. So I don't have a specific storyline for you guys, those of you who have this placement, but I will say that you can be very, very powerful healers once you overcome that South Node pattern. And again, like everyone else, you guys can look to what your North Node is and find my video on that to get more information on what that means. You know, what honoring that North Node means and what those South Node patterns are. So that's what I have for this video today, guys. I hope that this video helped you to learn more about your South Node and the planets there and what this all means. Let me know in a comment below if you have any questions. I'm going to make more videos on this topic, so be ready for that. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you get those notifications. And thank you all so much for all your comments, all the likes and the shares, and just everything you do to support this work that I do. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you all in the next video.